Hey, what's up, Divine Ones? It's Latoya Okeia. Y'all come on in. Come on in. Come on in. So I was trying to record this video, but I could not get it to record. So I just hopped over here and I said, we're gonna get it done like this, baby. But I gotta get this out. I gotta get this out of my spirit. I wanted to come on real quick and do a message for parents. I want to come on real quick and do this message for parents. There's another side to parenting. There is another side to parenting. We have our kids. To those of you that are mothers, we carry our babies in our womb or however your baby came into your life. I'll just say that. That's your baby. That's your child. You go through different stages with them. Everybody that's coming in, you go through different stages with them. You go through that newborn stage, you go through that crawling stage, you go through they take their first steps, all of that stuff, all the cute little stages, the cute little phases of raising children. But let me tell y'all something, okay? There's another side to parenting. There is another side to parenting that ain't so cute, okay? It ain't the cute little bootsies and the cute little bibs and all that stuff is cute. It's cute when you watch your belly grow and you give birth and all that stuff and, the family pictures and everything. I get it. But listen, when you have children, you better know what you're doing. You better know what you're doing. Do you understand me? You better be ready for some commitment. You better be ready to weather some storms. Okay. Have you looked at the world? Do you see what type of world we living in today? So for one, when you having children, you got to look at the world that you bringing these children into. Okay. And then you got to think about what type of mindset you have to have when you raising these children, because it's not going to be all cute. It's another side to parenting. And what I was just saying, I was trying to record it, but I guess it just wasn't God's will that I recorded that way. It was God's will that I do it right here. What I was saying was parenting is not about, this is a part of parenting, but this is not what parenting is all about. Parenting is not all about buying your kids shoes, buying your kids clothes, putting clothes on their back, putting a roof over their head, making sure they got food to eat, they got water to drink, making sure they got school clothes. Listen, anybody with some money can do that. Anybody with some money can do that. And I'm not discrediting that and saying that's nothing and, you don't get no credit for that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you think that you're going to be able to, what classifies you by being a good parent is what you buy your kids, what you do for your kids, because you pay the bills, because you keep a roof over their head, because you putting food in their stomach, because you putting shoes on their feet, you putting clothes on their bike. If you think that, and this is not about a good parent versus a bad parent. What I'm saying is that you got to look at the whole concept of parenting. That's only a piece of it. That's only a part of it, because you could be putting a roof over their head, but what are they doing under that roof? You could be putting a roof over their head, but what are they doing under that roof? You could be working so hard to give them a certain type of lifestyle, but if you gone, or you got your head in your laptop all the time, or you got your head on your face in a camera all the time, you got your face in a Zoom all the time, who you think is speaking into your kid's life? Who you think talking to these children? If you're not talking to them, somebody else gonna talk to them. So I wanted to come on and talk about this and address this, because as parents, we have our work cut out for us, baby. Let me tell y'all something. I run a whole business, and I'll take that any day. That's easy. That is easy. That's a piece of cake compared to raising 3 whole human beings, 3 children. Oh, that ain't for the faint at heart. You better know what you're doing. It's easier for you to go start a business, go run a business and make money. That ain't nothing. You go out there and make you some money. You go out there and get in your bag. You can go out there and make some shake and do this and do that. But when you raising another human being, come on now, that take time, that take dedication, that takes sacrifice. And you know just as well as I do, if you're a parent, that it take more than money. It take more than money, because if money was all it took, why are some of these rich children doing what they doing? Why they doing what they doing? Come on now. And it take more than somebody that has spiritual background. It takes more than somebody that has spiritual leadership. Because how many pastor kids we see doing this and doing that? How many spiritual leader kids we see doing this and doing that? So it's a whole, parenting is a whole concept that is like, it's comprised of many different, it's many different sections. It's many different components. And this is why it is the hardest job that you will ever have. Because it's so many variables and it's so many, it's like when you check one, when you get one right, the other, you got to run over there to the other part. You got to run over there to the other section and make sure you dotting your I's and crossing your T's with that. It's a full-time job. And I remember being a young woman in my early 20s. And I remember I wanted children, and my children are the best thing that ever happened to me. Those are gifts from God. But I'm going to tell y'all something. When you go into parenthood, you better know what you're doing. You better know what you're doing, because when you in that, you in that. And now you are responsible for a life that, yes, baby, the warfare be real. Now you are responsible for a life that God gonna hold you responsible for. You cannot say, I don't have time to teach them the lessons. I don't have time. Let me tell y'all something I used to do. I sent them to school. They teach them. They teach them. The school teach them. No, no, you teach them. God is going to hold you responsible for teaching them. You the parent. Come on now. And one thing I learned, when we doing everything that we supposed to be doing with our children, I'm talking about show enough. You ain't cutting no corners. You doing everything you supposed to be doing with them children, and especially when you got multiple ones, when you got more than one running around. When you doing everything you can, and one, some of y'all, that one you got is like having 10. When you doing everything you can to keep them children in line, you dotting every I, crossing every T, you teaching them the lessons, you sitting down having the conversations with them, you taking your time to teach them how to be a successful adult. When we doing that, we literally don't have time. We wouldn't have time to do nothing else. We wouldn't have time to be involved if we really were doing, like, trying to keep up with everything that's going on in the world and saying, okay, Lord, I'm going to try to censor this. Any of y'all, you get to that point where you try to censor the stuff your children do and watch as much as you can. But the world is so wicked. The world is so evil. Sexual stuff is just everywhere. It's on the commercials. It's on everything. It's on the ads that pop up on their YouTube videos, when they watching Disney Plus, when they looking at all this stuff. It creeps its way in. That's a full-time job, baby. That's a full-time job. So I just want to hop on real quick, because I got to go, and we'll dig into this later on. But I just wanted to challenge parents. I challenge us as parents to look at the other side of parenting. I read a book one time that said, you are not raising children. Stop saying you raising your children. The author said, you are raising adults. And as you look at your children and you raise your children, raise them to be adults. Because they will not always just be your kids. Your son is going to be somebody's husband. You raise him like that. Your daughter is going to be somebody's wife. You raise her like that. Come on now. You raising future servant leaders. You raising future business owners. You raising future entrepreneurs. So you raise them like that. You raise them like that. And have the difficult conversations with your children. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if it make them uncomfortable, have the difficult conversations with them. Because if you don't, They need somebody with emotional maturity to sit down and tell them what this is and what that ain't, and what is this desire that I feel. They should be able to bring their desires to us, and we sit down with them and we talk, we teach them, and we show them the way. But if we too caught up in our own trauma, because we still dealing with mama wounds, daddy wounds, ex-husband wounds, all kind of stuff, we don't have time to coach our kids. We're really supposed to be life coaches to our children. That's what helps them to become successful adults, by the coaching that they get from their parents. And whatever we don't deal with our kids when they are under that influence stage, where they under our influence and we still have influence over them, whatever we don't deal with them, they will go on as adults to recreate those same experiences, that same brokenness, them same that manipulation, that lying, all of that stuff that they was doing that you didn't have time to correct, you didn't have time to address, that you probably didn't even see. The enemy want to have you so caught up that you don't even see what's going on with your children. And then we push them out into the world. And what we doing, we pushing out people that are broken. We pushing out people that have been abused and we don't even know it. We pushing out people that have been lying and manipulating, because they've been lying and doing little stuff in the house over the little small stuff in the house they lying about, and you ain't checking it. You ain't checking it because in your mind, you're a good parent because you got a roof over their head. You put a roof over their head. You put clothes on their back. I'm not saying that don't mean nothing. I'm saying there's more to it than that. It's more to it than that. Do you hear me? It's more to it than that, baby. Money, listen, it's going to take more than money. And then I'm going to tell y'all what God told me. He said, be careful trying to give them everything you ain't have. Be careful trying to buy them everything you ain't have. That's what we be trying to do. We be trying to make up for our childhood with our kids. Come on now. We be trying to relive our dream childhood with our kids, not realizing we got to be careful with that, because you sending people out into the world that didn't have to work for nothing, that everything was given to them. Everything, they had the nicest stuff, the nicest of everything. They ain't never have to earn nothing. They ain't never have to work for nothing. Now, what you think gonna happen when they go out in the world? And it don't happen like that, because me and you both know that life don't happen like that. You don't get nothing out here unless you earn it. You don't get nothing out here unless you get that thing out the mud. Do you understand me? You ain't getting nothing. So I want y'all to start thinking about the other side of parenting. The other side of parenting. Having them difficult conversations with our kids. Teaching them the lessons. Checking them on the little stuff that they doing. And then don't just beat them. Don't just beat them. Come on now, don't just beat them and you ain't telling them why. You ain't sitting down having a conversation with them. Do you see where you went wrong? Do you see how? Now tell me how you gonna do different next time. Tell me how you gonna do better next time. Come on now, having the conversations with them, teaching them the lessons. When somebody do something to you, don't seek revenge. Don't seek to get back at them. But the best revenge, baby, is massive success. The best revenge is for you to become successful. The best revenge is for you to become the person that God has created you to be. That's the best revenge. But I'm telling y'all, it's another side to parenting. And it's more than what you just buy them. It's more than what you just buy them. And then I'm going to tell you another thing. Because a lot of time we think we have the perfect child. We have the perfect child and our child is just this and just that. And listen, that's a person. That's a whole person right there. You got to stop seeing that child as just your child. That is a human being with a soul, with a mind, with emotions, with a will that is separate from yours. So they will make their own decisions. We can influence their decisions, but at the end of the day, it's going to be up to them. They going to make their own decisions. So while they under your influence, You sacrifice whatever you need to sacrifice. Do you understand me? You move around whatever need to be moved around, because that is a small snippet of time that you have to influence your child, to teach your child the lessons. Because once they out there, they out there. And we got to be thinking about what kind of people are we sending out into society? What kind of people are we pushing out into the world? Think about how your childhood was and how long it took you to bounce back from that mess. How long it took you to heal. Some of us, we still healing. Some of us, we still bleeding. We still crying. We still getting therapy. We still getting coaching. We still trying to figure it out. But I love y'all. I love y'all so much. And I'm not yelling at y'all. I'm just passionate about this, because God been whooping me with this. And I just want to come on and share with y'all, because I know I ain't the only one. I know I ain't the only parent. I know I ain't, baby. The warfare is real with these children. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? It is real. You get hit with some real life stuff that you didn't plan for. That you ain't even think that could happen. You ain't even think that could come up. Real life issues. I love y'all too, baby. I love y'all too. And I'm going to share this one last thing with y'all. God told me, he said, the two don't match. He said, you can't think that you can buy these children everything you didn't have and do everything for them that you didn't get a chance to do, and give them a better life and work your fingers to the bone to try to make sure they have this and have that. Some of y'all, you know what I'm talking about. You going out your way to make sure they got Robux cards and PlayStation cards and Xboxes and PlayStations and the latest iPhones and the latest tablets and stuff. And then they want the latest J's, and then they want the Sowing that costs $300 and some that the other little girls wearing. They want the braids that go down, the braids that come down like all the other little girls at school wearing. They want the shades like all the other little boys wearing. And you can't even afford that stuff, but you going out of your way. You going out of your way. I can't tell y'all how many Christmases I done put up with all kind of Scrooges on the job trying to get this and get that, until God had to hit me upside my head in the spirit. Say, what is you doing? What is you doing? He said, you working like a slave trying to give them everything you didn't have. He said, that will not make them a good person. That will not. He said, if anything, that's going to make them worse. That's going to make them entitled. That's going to make them feel like the world owed them something. Y'all ever met a grown person like that? Well, you be like, you grown. You grown. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you nothing. That's somebody that as a child, they had stuff handed to them. Stuff was handed to them. And they grew up. That became concrete in their mind, in their subconscious mind. And they believe that now, as a 30-year-old man or as a 40-year-old woman, that somebody's still supposed to come get them something that they didn't work for. These are the type of human beings we put out into the world when we do that stuff for our kids. When we thinking that we just trying to give them what we didn't have. Don't try to give them what you didn't have. Try to teach them what you didn't know. Do you understand me? That's what God told me. He said that is what gonna make them a good person. Because he said, when you think about it, Toya, he said, what made you a good person? What made me a good person was me when I hit that flow and I had thoughts of suicide. I had thoughts of taking myself out. I had thoughts of ending it all. I was depressed. I was broke, busted, and disgusted. I didn't want to live no more. What did it take to get me up off that flow? It took God. It took relationship with Jesus Christ. It took me crying out to God. It took me getting on my face. It took me praying. Come on now. If I'd have had somebody come and just showering me with stuff, just giving me stuff, and I ain't earned nothing, I ain't worked for nothing, that would have made me fall even deeper. That would have made me hurt even harder. That wouldn't have made me grow. That would have made me worse. Come on now. So sometimes God have to show us a little tough love. Sometimes God have to show us a little tough love, and it be hurt. I'm pretty sure it be grieving God. Because he be want to give us stuff. He be want to give it to you because you his child and he love you. But he know if I give you this, it ain't going to draw you closer to me. It's going to push you farther away. It's going to push you farther away. And so that's what he spoke to me. He said, stop trying to give them everything that you didn't have. Because God say, I'm not going to hold you responsible because you ain't buy them the latest Jordans. I'm not going to hold you responsible because you didn't put them in a palace. Y'all might be in a hut, but that's the best that you can give them. That's your best at that time. Come on now. You give them the best that you have at that time. But above all, baby, you shower them with love. You shower them with love. You shower them with affection. You shower them with lessons. Every day you ought to be teaching them something new. Don't leave it up to that school building. Don't leave it up to them teachers. Come on now. You are their first teacher. And you teach them lessons just like you would teach them how to tie their shoe. Just like you would teach them how to brush their teeth. You teach them how to tell the truth. You teach them how to be honest. You teach them how to have character. You teach them how to have integrity. You teach them how to do the right thing, whether somebody is watching them or not. That's what God spoke to me. He said, stop trying to give them everything you didn't have and teach them what you didn't know. Teach them, what did it take for you to get up off that floor? Give your daughter that. Okay, you can get her hair did. You can go take her to get her nails did. You can buy the newest jacket that she want. You can buy the latest shoes that she want. But make sure you teach her the lessons that you didn't know, that you had to learn the long way, the hard way. Give her the lesson. That's the other side of parenting. That's the other side of parenting. And guess what? That takes time because they don't always get it the first time. So that takes time. That takes patience from you. That takes consistency from you. So you can't be so caught up in your own mess that you let your child fall through the cracks. That you let them fall through the cracks. And no, you won't be able to address every single thing, but you do what you can. You do what you can. If you broken and you got children, listen, that's a disaster. That's a disaster. Because at the point that you had them children, you don't have the luxury to sit there and be broken no more. You don't have the luxury to sit there and be hurting no more, to be bleeding. You got to get some help. You got to get therapy if you need to. You got to get counseling if you need to. You got to get coaching if you need to. Because you can't be so in the sunken place with your mess that you don't show up emotionally for your children. Many times this is why we go on into adulthood and we attract men and women that are emotionally unavailable. Come on now. That's because as a child, nobody showed up for us. Nobody showed up for us. So you used to having emotionally unavailable people around you, not realizing that your subconscious mind, what did I just say? If we don't address these things with our children, they will go on into adulthood to recreate these same experiences in their own life. They're going to play out the same thing. We are all reliving our childhood. I learned that. Until you go in there and you change the tape that's playing on that tape player, we are all reliving our childhood. You think you're in control of your life, but you're really not. You are reliving your childhood in your own way. You creating the same experiences that you saw in your house growing up. The same relationships that you saw, the same relationship with money, the relationship with food, the relationship with time. If you saw people waste time, you saw people waste money, you saw people overeat, you saw people undereat. We are all recreating our childhood until you get transformation. That's how you stop it. That's how you break the curse. So this is why it's so important for us as parents to get our hands on the steering wheel, take control, and heal within ourselves. Allow God to heal us, because you can't heal yourself. It is God. It is the Holy Spirit. It is through relationship with Jesus Christ that you are healed. He comes in and he heals you. He makes you whole. You have to allow him to do that. You have to allow him to do that. And when he come in and he make you whole, now you are whole, and you are whole enough to show up for your daughter. You are whole enough to show up for your son. Because I know it, baby. The stuff that I'm seeing, and they ain't even hit teenage age yet. They tweens. They tweens. And I be thanking God like, Lord, ooh, I'm glad I somewhat got my stuff together. Because I don't know. I don't know. But I love y'all. I love y'all so much. I just wanted to come on and say that. That is not about you. This is the other side of parenting. It's not about buying them stuff. But it's about teaching them lessons that you didn't have. And think about how long it took you to learn that lesson. Think about how many times you had to fall. How many times you had to bump your head. So we also have to show them a little compassion. We also have to be more understanding. That sounds like emotional intelligence. That sounds like we have to really be emotionally intelligent. And most adults are not. But look at how many people walking this earth, though. Look at how many people having children, though. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to speak on it. Because awareness, this is what the video is for. The video is to bring awareness to parents. Bring awareness to parents. That, listen, we got to be on our job. We got to be on our job, baby. Because if you, and I know it sounds like a lot, it is a lot. But if you commit to that small window of time that you have to influence your children, when they become adults, it's like that's the time that you can reap the fruits of your labor. That's the time that you can see the harvest come forth. When they are 5 years old, 7 years old, 12 years old, growing up like that, that's the time of where you're sowing seeds. You're sowing seeds. So don't get discouraged if you feel like nothing is taking place with your child, nothing is changing. You don't sow a seed and then eat the harvest the next day. While they under your roof and they under your influence, that's the time that you sowing seeds. You sowing seeds. And then later in life, like the Bible says, you train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they are older, they will not depart from it. Them seeds that you sowed in them, when they hit that flow, because they gonna hit that flow. Okay, I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how much influence you got. I don't care how good of a life you done made for them. They gonna hit that flow. Life gonna knock the wind out of them. If they got money, it'll be something that money can't fix. It'll be something that money can't buy. So they gonna hit that flow. And when they hit that flow, do they have what it takes? Did you sow enough seeds in them? You might be dead and gone. Come on now. But did you sow enough seeds in them for them to get up? For them to remember your voice, remember your words. Because they ain't going to remember how many shoes you bought them. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Come on now. But it's the lessons that they're going to carry with them. I can still hear my auntie voice in my head. She dead and gone. Now went on to be with the Lord. But I can still hear her voice in my head. I can still hear the lessons that she would teach me in her kitchen, cooking her greens. I can still hear her. I still hear her voice. And she bought me things. She did physical things for me. But it was the lessons that she taught me that helped make me who I am today. And she dead and gone. And now the fruit is being displayed. People are able to see the harvest of the seeds that she sowed. Come on now. Lord, baby. You trust in the Lord. David said in the book of Psalms, he said, I have been young and now I am old. He said, yet never have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. But he said his seed is forever blessed. When you serve God, God gonna see to it that your children, when they hit that flow, they gonna get up off that flow. The Holy Spirit gonna come in, lift up a standard. The devil gonna try to destroy them, but the Holy Spirit gonna remember the seeds that you sowed in this earth realm. He gonna remember the seeds that you sowed into him. He didn't say you was perfect. He didn't say you was flawless, and you ain't gonna never fall and make no mistakes with your children. But God want to see a willing vessel. He want to see somebody that's willing to commit, that's willing to try, that's willing to heal, that's willing to work on themselves, that's willing to sit down. No matter how awkward it may be, you willing to sit down and have the difficult conversations with your children. You willing to sit down. Because see, you got to think about everything that they going to face later in life. And you got to prepare them for that right now. Right now. Because you know it's coming. So you got to teach them the lessons for that right now. That's what they're going to remember. Okay? I love y'all. I love y'all so much, baby. I'll check in with y'all later.